U.S. markets end the day higher, clawing back the losses from the previous session as markets digest China's tariffs. Treasury yields fall to the lowest level of 2025 after December factory orders miss expectations. Alphabet shares dropped 9% in extended trading after its fourth quarter results missed revenue expectations, and the company's mega investment plans spook the street. Asian markets mirrored the moves on Wall Street to start the day on a positive note. The GIFT Nifty is also indicating a higher start for our own markets. Oil pairs losses amidst the trade tariff uncertainty. President Donald Trump plans to restore his maximum pressure campaign on Iran in a bid to drive down Iranian oil exports to zero. Gold prices climb after hitting a record high on the US-China trade war fears. The meeting of the Reserve Bank of India's Monetary Policy Committee begins today, the first under the new governor Sanjay Malhotra. The CNBC TV 18 Monetary Policy poll shows that 70% of the economists and market participants are betting on a 25 basis points rate cut. Even though liquidity remains tight, a CRR cut is unlikely. And polling begins in Delhi in a three-way contest between the Aam Aadmi Party, the BJP and the Congress. 699 candidates across 70 assembly constituencies are in the fray. Over 15 million citizens are eligible to cast their vote. Results will be announced on Saturday. Good morning, you're watching Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18, this midweek trading session in the Mumbai News Center. I am Hormuz Fatakia. Let's first take a look at how the Asian markets have started off, and it's a start in the green for most of the benchmark indices. The Hang Seng, though, is a slight underperformer, trading with losses of over 1%. The Taiwanese index, though, building on to gains from yesterday, trading with gains of over 1.5% after some uncertainties that eased around China and its tariffs. But the bigger market in focus was the Chinese markets that have resumed trading in today's session, and the CSI 300 index has opened with gains of around 0.7%. Some macro data also coming in from China, with the services PMI coming in at 51 for the month of January compared to a 52.2 reading in December. But of course, it remains in expansion mode. The Nikkei is absolutely flat. The Kospi, though, is trading with gains of over 1%. So mostly it's green across the screen in the Asian screen, barring the underperformance seen on the Hang Seng. But pull up the GIFT Nifty as well. That'll give you an idea of how we are likely to start off. Well, a 50-point uptake. Well, the bulls will take that, considering the fact that the Nifty ended almost 350 points higher in yesterday's trading session. So building on to that, a 50-point uptake is what the implied open is currently suggesting. And this positive sentiment is courtesy the action we saw on Wall Street overnight. And all the three benchmark indices ended the session higher. The Dow gained over 130 points. The S&P 500 too gained almost 40 points. And the Nasdaq recovering all the losses from Monday's drop, almost ending 1.5% higher. So it was the Nasdaq outperformance that led Wall Street in yesterday's trading session. CNBC's Bertha Coombs gets us a wrap of all the action on Wall Street.
U.S. markets were up across the major indexes Tuesday as Wall Street rebounded following a pause in the trade battle against Mexico and Canada. The Dow rising 134 points. The S&P 500 was up 43, while the tech-heavy Nasdaq jumped 262 points. Fox Corp announcing that it is now planning to launch a streaming service by the end of this year, and that it's expected to include both its sports and news content. CEO Lachlan Murdoch telling Wall Street analysts Tuesday that it should not be taken as a sign that it's moving away from its traditional pay TV business. The company currently has two streaming properties, the Fox Nation subscription service and ad-supported Tubi. Fox's recent plans to launch a sports joint venture with Warner Brothers Discovery and Disney fell apart after rival Fubo sued, and it was subsequently shut down after a settlement agreement. And the hottest ticket in sports here in the U.S. is cooling down, it appears. According to ticket reseller TickPick, the least expensive seat at the New Orleans Superdome this Sunday for the Super Bowl game between the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles is now under $4,000. That's 50% cheaper compared to last year. That's what's happening here in the U.S. Back over to you in Mumbai.
Staying with Wall Street, let's also listen to market experts and economists who share their views on the implications of the current trade war fears between the U.S. and other countries on the market itself.
The uncertainty is high. The other factor that we need to think about is, are our allies going to continue to trade with us if we're playing hardball with them right now? So I think that's the other kind of longer term ramification here. I mean, I think that so far what we've seen is that U.S. corporates are actually in a position where they can handle tariffs, the extra tariffs, reasonably well. From an inflationary perspective, this is potentially negative. We've dialed back our Fed call to no cuts this year. We're not talking about hikes yet. So no cuts this year. But I think that where we are is an environment where you want to sort of prepare yourself for upside pressure to rates, to inflation.
And as these trade war fears persist, China earlier announced that they would be slapping the US back with a 15% tariff on imports from the country. China also added that they were launching an antitrust probe against Google. On the same front, CNBC spoke to David Sachs, who is the White House's AI and crypto czar, and asked him if he sees a threat to trade in the technology sector. This is what he had to say.
China already discriminates against our technology companies. The trade relationship isn't reciprocal at all. So I think that, what President Trump did by announcing that 10% tariff is just a partial corrective. And if China wants to respond, then that's something that we're going to have to decide.
That's all we have on the global markets front, but how will all of these overnight cues impact our own markets? Our research team joins in with how the trade setup looks like, the stocks that are likely to be in the news, and of course the scheme on the F&O side of things. First up, Vinny joins in to get all the market cues that you need to watch out for. Vinny, good morning. Finally, a lot of green on the screen in yesterday's trading session. What's the setup looking like today?
Absolutely. A lot of green is what we saw coming in. Just taking a look at it, because Nifty managed to reclaim the 23,700 mark. Sensex crossed their 78,500 levels as well. So both of them turned positive for 2025. Mid and small cap also was something that was participating in the market. Nifty mid cap and small cap was up more than 1%, approximately, both of them. So surely we saw the green coming in on the screen. FIIs, they turned buyers as well. After 23 sessions, they were turning buyers. So FII bought almost 809 crores, while DII were sellers in yesterday's trading session. Now, obviously, what we're watching out for in terms of global cues that are coming in from the US, the tariff war, trade tariff war, keep an eye out on that. As of now, this morning, we have positive cues that have come in from the global markets. Earnings are key focus areas, and stocks remain in focus on the back of individual moves coming in on the earnings basis. FII trends, will they sustain, or was this just a one-off case, is a key factor to watch out for in trade. And RBI monetary policy meeting, that is, we'll see the decision coming in on 7th of Feb, will be a key factor for the Indian markets. As of now, Nifty implied open indicating a bit of a positive start for the markets.
Indeed, a 55-point implied open is what the GIFT Nifty is indicating. Vinny, thanks a lot for that. Sudarshan now joins in with all the stocks that you need to watch out for this morning. Sudarshan.
Good morning, Harma. So earnings, and earnings. This is how last few days have been. So in today's list of stocks, we start with Titan. Company has announced earnings, which has slightly missed estimates because of one-offs. Company has reported inventory loss of rupees 253 crore. That likely to have impacted margin. Revenue is up nearly 15% and margin is down almost 200 basis points, and it has come below 10%. For Tata Power, it was a mixed Q3. Revenue is up 5%, while EBITDA has increased almost 40%. But company says it's seeing early signs of power demand increase, and peak power is expected in the range of 265 to 270 gigawatt. For Torrent Power, earnings have missed estimates on lower plant load factor, or say PLF. Revenue is up 2% and margin has increased 60 basis points year-on-year. For JKTI, it was a weak set of earnings as expected. Margin is down 630 basis points. Profit has fallen almost 77%. For Birla Corp, it was a weak Q3, but outlook is looking healthy. For Q3, margin is down almost 550 basis points, but company is saying prices have started to firm up, and improved realization is going to support the growth going forward. For Max Financial, it was in line to slight miss. For Q3, VNB was flat at rupees 489 crore. Margin is down almost 400 basis points. Also, company has announced that it has begun the process to list Axis Max Life, and also believes that the process will be completed once there is a clarity with respect to the law. For Metropolis, Q3 was in line to slight miss. Revenue has increased 11%. Margin was flat at 22%. Cummins India will be focused. Cummins India will be announcing its earnings today, but there is a positive read-through from Cummins INC results. It says it expects project revenue, including JVs in India, to rise 10% in 2025. Last is RVNL. Company has received letter of award for rupees 404 crore project from East Coast Railway. So keep an eye on these stocks today.
Indeed, keep an eye out on all of these names. Darshan, thanks a lot for that. And lastly, Mangalam joins in with cues from the F&O space. Mangalam, good morning. There was green, but what was also green was the FII figure in the cash market. What's the F&O data indicating now?
What a day it was yesterday for bulls. You know, if you're a bull, you'd be very happy looking at the screen right now that comes up for you. The Nifty Bank, the mid-cap index, all of them spiking and spiking with good gusto. Then came the cash market flows as well. You look at it, FII has bought 800. Yeah, that's not a mistake. FII has bought 809 crores. DIS sold 431 crores. And you might not, you might be forgiven for thinking of it as a mistake as well, because it's the first buy figure that is coming from the FIIs for the first time since Jan 2nd itself. And how rare it has been over the last 4 months. Well, since October 2024 itself, the FIIs have bought only on 11 occasions in the cash market. While the FII action in cash market was positive, the important part is, remember, we've been talking about how heavily short they were on index futures. Yesterday's up move has taken some of those shorts to cleaners as well. If you look at the open interest change for both the Nifty as well as the Nifty Bank, saw a sharp reduction, telling you there was short covering, and indeed data suggested that as well. 5,500 crore worth purchase in index futures by the FIs added about 14,000 longs, but more importantly covered 16,000 shorts. So the net swing factor in their exposure has been close to 30,000 contracts. What has that done to their long exposure? In just one day, from 10%, the FII longs have jumped all the way up to 17%. And this was also witnessed in calls. You look at the 23,400, 23,500, 23,600 calls. All of them collectively shed nearly 1.3 crore shares in open interest itself. And as a result of which, the Nifty, a PCR also jumped from lower end of 0.87 to the slightly upper end of 1.16 itself. 23,800 call writers still active in today's trading session. Premium of 50 rupees, telling you that the bears are hoping 23,850 thereabouts. There could be some amount of supply coming in, but at the lower level, we have support which has moved higher to 23,450. That's what the action on the 23,500 put is telling you. The GIFT Nifty is indicating a 50-point uptick. What next is the question, right? Tomorrow is the weekly options expiry. Thereafter, we have the RBI policy as well. So those two factors will keep the markets in focus as well. And as we open today, just keep an eye out on the fact that we are opening close to the 50-day moving average for the Nifty. The 50-day moving average for the Nifty Bank is close to around 300-400 points from where we are right now. So that would be an important level to watch out for from a technical standpoint too.
And a good start might just take them above those levels as well, right? Mangalam, thanks a lot for that update. Some important levels highlighted there by Mangalam for both the indices. Time for a short break, but up next, we focus on the elections in Delhi as the capital undergoes voting today. Stay tuned, back on the other side. Welcome back, and shifting focus now to the national capital. It's a high-stakes battle like no other over there, and Delhi has begun polling in a three-way battle between the Aam Aadmi Party, the Congress and the BJP. Abhimanyu is joining us now with all the details on that. Abhimanyu, good morning. What's the turnout so far? It's just been half an hour, right? But what's the situation on the ground?
Well, it has been a cold morning so far, so the turnout, of course, has been tepid, which has remained so far as elections, not just in Delhi, but all other metropolitan cities too have been concerned. Though this time around, several measures have been undertaken by the Election Commission. They are not just encouraging people to vote. There has been insignia, also hot air balloons, which have been installed at several places in the city, and quite ostensibly, they are trying to openly encourage people to come out and vote. Also, notably, this time the polling day has been kept bang in the middle of the week, that is on a Wednesday, so that people do not take a long leave if it falls on a Monday or a Friday and head outstation. So that is something which is one of the measures which has been undertaken, and something which was also openly mentioned by the Election Commission when they were declaring the dates for the Delhi election. Interestingly, it's going to be a three-way contest, though the Congress seems to be a minor player given its previous performance in the elections, but the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party both, of course, would be vying for the Delhi CM chair. of course, the Aam Aadmi Party is going to defend anti-incumbency of 2 times, and the BJP is seeming quite confident of reaping the benefits of this anti-incumbency. Interestingly, another aspect which needs to be noted at this point of time is the fact that the issue of vote share in Delhi elections has been extremely peculiar. Speaking of BJP's vote share, their vote share was considerably larger than the Congress during the 3 elections where Sheila Dikshit had won. But this time around, the BJP is hoping not just for a good vote share, but also for a translation into number of seats.
All right, Abhimanyu, thanks a lot for that update. We'll keep an eye out on the voter turnout in Delhi. An interesting point highlighted by Abhimanyu, voting day on a Wednesday instead of a Monday or a Friday. But moving on then, DIPAM Secretary Arunish Chawla highlighted a calibrated asset monetization approach when it comes to public sector units. Now, he spoke at the CNBC TV18 budget verdict program, where he also said that the government hopes to monetize land assets of BSNL and MTNL in FY26.
We are going to help MTNL and BSNL in monetizing whatever assets they have so that the value that is locked in can be redeployed, the liability is cleared, and we can re-energize the sector.
And do you expect that to go through within this in the next financial year, FY26?
Touch wood.
Touch wood. Okay, that's an important headline.
Important words there from Arunish Chawla. Take a short break. Up next, cues from the commodity side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and Manisha Gupta now joins us with all the updates from the commodity space. Manisha, good morning. Gold continues to shine despite this tariff flip-flop, but what are you picking up now?
Oh, well, absolutely, Hormuz. You know, all-time highs at $28.47 an ounce now. I mean, this has been a one-way rally in much of the last quarter, and this quarter has started on a very, very strong note as well. So we're not too far away from $28.50 an ounce in the international markets there. Indian prices, the way New York has moved yesterday, will open at an all-time high yet again. Actually, the US-China trade war is boosting safe haven demand. It will have an impact on, global economy. There is some uncertainty on the interest rate cuts in 2025 coming in from US. But look at the kind of data that we're seeing from US. Fewer job openings, the factory orders have been slightly on the weaker side as well, and that clearly supports gold prices. Not just gold, but silver is also trading at a 3-month high, above $32 an ounce. This is going to be a 5th straight year in 2025 of global deficit in silver. That is supportive because you're looking at retail demand, industrial demand, all of that supportive of silver. In the overnight markets, we also have seen gains come back in case of crude because of the dollar decline and the expectation that you could be looking at better demand continuing from Europe. Copper prices also are trading at a 2-week highs right now because the factory activity in US and China has expanded. So across board, all commodities as of now trading in positive.
Well, in some cases, all that glitters is indeed gold. Manisha, thanks a lot for that. Moving on then, ChatGPT creator and OpenAI CEO Sam Altman will be in India and is expected to meet top government officials, including the Prime Minister and the IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav. Now, this comes at an interesting juncture when OpenAI has been challenged by the Chinese upstart DeepSeek. In fact, S. Krishnan, the Secretary of the Ministry of Electronics and IT, speaking at the CNBC TV18 budget verdict program, spoke about Sam Altman's India visit. Listen in.
He's expected to visit New Delhi, and he's expected to meet hopefully the Prime Minister or the Minister for Electronics. We presume it is to discuss on what OpenAI can do for India and the kind of applications of OpenAI in the country, and how well India is equipped and what we can do to benefit from this. OpenAI's model is not an open model,
yes.
Right? So the ChatGPT is not an open model, so if at all we are going to build on models, it has to be on other open source models which we pick up and work towards.
Well, all eyes on Sam Altman and his upcoming India visit. But with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Power Breakfast from me and the team that put this show together. Thank you so much for watching. Bazaar Morning Call sets you up for today's trade.